There is no shortage of eateries in Findlay. But for lunch, I didn't merely want to satisfy my hunger, I craved an experience too. And I found both at Wilson's Sandwich Shop. Opened in 1936, the shop was refurbished in 1964, and it retains the charm of that era to this day.
It's got that 60s diner feel.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you kept that, because nostalgia is, the
Oh,
older
yeah.
we get, we get nostalgic for the past, and so you still have, the stools where people can sit. You have the old menu board that, looks like, I'm sure it's been updated, but it looks like
Right.
something historic. And then, of course, the booths too, and the color and everything that just pops when you're here. But the food is the selling point.
Right.
And specifically burgers. Tell me about your hamburgers here.
Well, we get our...
Or hamburger. It's just hamburger.
Yes, it's
right?
hamburg.
Yeah.
The proper term is hamburg. They always told me that hamburger is the meat
Yeah.
and a hamburg is the sandwich.
That makes sense.
I don't know how, that's just the way they
You're
say
how
it.
scientific that
It's
is.
a 1936 thing, I guess. I don't know.
It carried
But,
on, yeah.
Yeah, so we get beef in about 3 times a week. Basically, it's 80-20 beef, and we use all of it. We use the ribeye, the everything. It all goes in it, so that's why the hamburger's so good. We patty it ourselves. We have our own machine, so we can weigh our patties and do all that.
So it really is, a diner to its core. You have malts too, right? You have
Yeah.
malts and shakes
Yeah.
and homemade pie, right?
First thing in the morning, somebody comes in, and usually my son starts baking the pies. We make the bacon fresh every morning. We don't buy frozen bacon, we buy fresh cut bacon. So, bacon.
Is that your son who's working here right now?
That was my son that took your cameraman in and showed him the cooler where we prep the meat,
Yeah.
store it, and everything.
And he's going to prepare the burgers and stuff for us later too, I assume. I noticed on the wall over there you have a lot of historic pictures. You also have the old menu with the,
Yeah,
Your prices are really good for this day and age, but like 10 cents, 5
10 cents a burger, yeah.
Yeah, a little bit of history over there.
Yeah.
Also, your burgers are square,
Right.
too. Why is that? Do you know why that started? Or
Everybody,
where it comes from?
everybody always talks about Wendy's and we don't cut corners and all that, but
Yeah.
it's actually the machine.
Okay.
The old school patty machines was a tubular shape. It attached right on the meat grinder. So as it came down, it flattened it, and then it just went down a slide and it chopped it.
Yeah.
So
And that's where it
it
comes
just
from.
made it square. It was just fast and efficient. Nowadays they make molds and they stamp the patties, but back then it was just one continuous feed of hamburger on a roll of paper.
Legend has it, Wendy's Burgers and Frosties were inspired by the Findlay-based shop, thanks to a friendship between Hoyt Wilson and Dave Thomas, founder of Wendy's. While I can't verify that tale, I do know that current Wilson's owner, Doug Baker, took over the reins shortly before COVID. And thanks to the immense support from the community, he weathered the storm, and Wilson's continues to thrive to this day.
We don't ask for tips and stuff. We never did.
Yeah.
And people were coming through the drive-through and just handing the girls 10s and 20s.
That's great.
Just because we were here, and they were like, this is just amazing. So, yeah, the community here is great. I have to say, Findlay is really good about that. They really support restaurants and stuff a lot.
Do you get a lot of out-of-towners that come here? Like word of mouth, people from out
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, I get
That's
people
great.
that, one guy told me that his son will call him, lives in Atlanta. He'll come to Findlay, and he said, I get a phone call every time. He goes, what do you want from Wilson's? He goes, well, where are you at? And I'm in the drive-thru. I didn't even know you were home yet. And he goes, yeah, well, I got to stop here first.
This is the first stop.
There are people that literally we send flowers to their funerals.
Wow.
They get mentioned. We get mentioned in the paper when they die because they're up here all the time.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's just crazy.
Why do you think that is? Why do you obviously it's it's simple. Maybe is it just something that people remember their youth and
Well,
they love
yeah,
this type of stuff?
36. I mean, when this place was built, my dad was a year old. My dad's been gone since like '06, And there are people coming up nowadays that are like, oh yeah, my grandparents brought me, my great-grandparents. Used to be a big thing when the theater was next door. They'd get dropped off at the theater for the Saturday matinee.
Yeah.
Then all the kids would come over here and get malts and stuff, and they just remember all that, It's just, and nothing much has changed. So to them, it's a great memory to come back in.
One Tank Travel with Tim McMahon is presented by Shores and Islands, Ohio.